Welcome students. Today we will start a new chapter, that is chapter 3, and the name of the chapter is Rotation and Revolution. That means about our earth, how the earth rotates and how it revolves, and what are the effects due to this rotation and revolution we will come to know in this chapter. But before that, one story that is there in your book, so just I will explain. So in that story it is given that an astronomer, a Polish astronomer, his name is Nicolaus Copernicus, and he is very famous. And why he is famous, just in this story we will come to know. So Nicolaus Copernicus, a Polish astronomer, he was a mathematician, a painter and a physicist also. So he is not only an astronomer, with that he was a mathematician, a painter and a physicist also. So he was born in a rich family. That means the family background is very good, economic condition is very good, and he received the best education. When he was young, so he had a lot of interest in the universe. So in our last chapters also we have discussed about the universe, about the earth. So he had a very keen interest to know about the universe and outer space. What is the space? What are the things are there in the space? So he was very eager to know this. So he collected a lot of books on this topic, that means in the on the topic of outer space. He collected many books. Then about the universe, he collected the books. In the late 1500 centuries, so it was about 7,000 years ago, sorry 700 years ago. Now it is 2021. That means yes, approximately it is more than 500 years before. So more than 500 years, yes. So Copernicus proved, so that time he proved that the solar system is heliocentric. The solar system, the sun and its family, the 8 planets, it is heliocentric. That means sun-centered. That means sun is at the center and the other planets revolves. This is called heliocentric. That is a system in which the sun is at the center and the planets orbit around it. That means sun never moves. Sun is at the center and the 8 planets, they move around the sun. That is heliocentric. So he proved that. So about 500 years before he proved this thing. For thousands of years it was believed that the earth was at the center. But see here, thousands of years ago people believed that no, this earth is at the center and we are in a fixed position, we are not moving, and the other heavenly bodies revolve around it. That means only the earth is at the center and the other planets revolve around it. So it was the belief of the early people. We still say that the sun rises. So now also people say that yes, sun is rising, sun is setting down. but the sun is stationary. Sun is in its own place. Sun never rise or never sets down. So the planets revolve around it. That means the planets revolve around the sun. So this is the story about Nicholas Copernicus. Now we will come to know about the rotation, how the earth rotates, how the earth revolves around the sun, and what are the effects of these two movements of the earth. So these are the two movements of the earth, and because of this, what happens we will come to know. Now rotation. What is rotation? The earth spins. That means the earth in its own place, when it spins, when it moves in its own place, and it is on its axis. Here suppose this is the earth, and this line, it is the imaginary line, and it is called axis. So on that axis, when it moves, it is called, and the movement is from west side to east side. So it is, you can say, anti-clockwise. It is not clockwise. Okay. And it takes one day, that means 24 hours. So from this point and again coming to this point, it takes 24 hours to complete one rotation. Okay. Now one example is given. Suppose if we keep our fingers like this, and if we open again, if we close, and if we rotate like this, so this is the axis and these are the fingers. That means the earth, it rotates. Same way the earth rotates. That means from west side to east side it rotates, and it takes 24 hours to complete one rotation. Now let us discuss day and night. So I think rotation, everyone, you have understood. Now let us discuss day and night. Next point is day and night. The sun is fixed source of heat and light at the center of the solar system. So as we know that sun is at the center and the other planets are revolving. So it is the main source of heat and light. From the sun only we are getting everything. The energy also, heat and light also. The side of the earth that is facing away from the sun experiences night. So when it spins on its axis, when it spins, so suppose the sun is here, suppose the sun is here, this is the sun, and here the earth is rotating. So the west side is in the front and suppose it is back. That means here this side it is night and this side it is day. Again while rotating, when the west side will come to this point, so there will be back side. That means it is the night time of the west, and for the east it is daytime. Okay. On the other hand, the side of the earth facing the sun experiences day. That means the part west side or east side, when it rotates, when it comes in front of the sun, it is their daytime. The cycle of day and night. So continuously it happens, day and night. That means continuously we are rotating. The earth is rotating. That is why we are getting the day and night. So therefore it is not the sun. It is not the sun that revolves, but we are revolving, and rotating also. The sun always appears to rise in the east, so it appears that sun is rising. In the morning time when we see that sun is rising and set in the west, because the earth spins, because of this spinning of or the rotation of the earth from west side to east side. Now let us come to know about revolution. What is revolution? So we know that the earth spins around like a top on its own axis. So you can practice also at home that how the earth rotates. Just take a ball like thing and one stick, if you put in the middle, and if you rotate, then you will understand that on its axis it is rotating. So like that our earth also rotates, but the earth also circles around the sun. But it not only rotates, it revolves also. It revolves. That means it goes around the sun, and it has an elliptical path. That means like that. It is called elliptical, not round in shape. It is elliptical path, and this path is called orbit. So you can say it is the road of the earth, and on that it continuously moves. That is called orbit. So this is known as the revolution of the earth around the sun. So when it moves around the sun, it is called revolution of the earth. The earth completes one revolution in 365 days and 1/4, that means 6 hours more. 365 days and 6 hours, or you can say 1/4 days around the sun. In the months of April to June, April, May and June, the northern hemisphere, that means here we have discussed earlier, I think. So here it is called the equator at the middle, and this is northern hemisphere, this is southern hemisphere. This is northern hemisphere, this is southern hemisphere. So from the month April to June, the northern hemisphere, this hemisphere up to this much, this hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. That means see, it is not completely straight line. It is called tilted. That means little bit this way. So it is tilted, and this portion tilted towards the sun. The northern hemisphere receives more hours of sunlight. That means if it is tilted towards the sun, it gets the sunlight more, and this portion it is away from the sun. So the days are longer. That means this northern hemisphere, their days are longer that time. Okay. The tilt of the earth also means that the rays of the sun fall vertically on the northern hemisphere. So this, because of this tilted position of the earth, that means this tilted means the sun rays fall directly on northern hemisphere. Okay, and this hemisphere, that means this northern hemisphere, they experience that time summer season. Okay, this is their summer season, and we have mainly 4 seasons we get. These are summer, autumn, winter and spring. And because of this tilted position, the northern hemisphere, April to June month, they have their summer season that time. And the opposite, that means the southern, So when it is tilted, that means this portion is away from the sun. So that time it is there opposite of that. That means days are shorter. Their days are longer, northern hemisphere, and their days are shorter. That means short days are there. That means the rays of the sun in this hemisphere are more spread out and less intense. That means if suppose here the sun is there and this portion gets the more heat, okay, and this portion is away, that means the light is spreading. So this portion gets the less heat. The southern hemisphere does experience winter season. So that time they experience the winter season, April to June. As the earth revolves on its orbit, so this is the orbit I told you, and the earth revolves, here it is the sun. Sun is the center, and this earth is revolving in its on its own orbit, that means the road. In the months from November to January, from November to January month, that means November, December and January, the southern hemisphere, this hemisphere, from here to here, it is southern hemisphere. So this southern hemisphere becomes tilted towards the sun. So when it revolves, so this part, that means the southern part, they become tilted towards the sun, and that time they experience summer season. That means in the month of November to January, they experience summer season. Well, the northern hemisphere, so that time the northern hemisphere, they are away from the sun. That means while revolving around the sun, so this tilted position becomes this way, and this portion comes near the sun, and this portion tilted towards the sun. So that is why that time their summer season, and northern hemisphere their winter season. Then in the months of February and March, the northern hemisphere experiences spring season. February and March month, they experience spring season, northern hemisphere. This portion from here to here, this portion they experience spring season. Well, countries in the southern hemisphere, so those countries which are there in the southern hemisphere, they experience autumn season. And in the month of September, when the northern hemisphere experiences autumn or fall season, that means the leaves of the trees start to fall down. It is also called fall season. So autumn, the southern hemisphere experiences spring. So these are all about the rotation and revolution of the earth. That means how it rotates and what are the effects of this rotation. So effects of this rotation, that means day and night we are getting, and because of the revolution, that means moving around the sun, we are having 4 seasons. That means summer, then autumn, winter and spring. So these are the main things which we have discussed from this chapter. So here we have completed our chapter. You watch the video. If you have any doubt, then we can clear it in our Zoom meeting class. So let us conclude here. Thank you.